Okay, we have maximum and minimum values. For the quadratic, f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c, the y-coordinate of the vertex is the maximum or minimum value. It's the minimum value when a is greater than 0, and it would be the maximum value when a is less than 0. Okay, so here's a greater than 0, which means it opens up, and then here is your vertex, right? So there's the minimum value right there. Where a is less than 0 is your maximum value. So you can see it's on the top right there, and that's why it's the maximum value. And your minimum value is f of negative b over 2a. So basically you're going to find your x value of your vertex, and then you plug it in to find the y value, and that's what this is talking about right there. For domain for both of them, all real numbers, your range is going to be y is greater than this because it opens up, right? So it's going to be greater than whatever your y value is right there. And then this one is going to be y is less than because it's opening up going down. Alright, so that's what we're talking about here. I'm going to scoot on down and let's work with number 5. Concept number 3, finding maximum and minimum values. So it's one or the other. Alright, so here we go. What I have is a equals 1/2, b equals negative 2, and c equals negative 1. And I really don't need c, because what I'm doing is finding my axis of symmetry, or x equals negative b over 2 times a. So in this case, it's the opposite of negative 2 over 2 times a, which is 1/2. So opposite of negative 2 is 2. 2 times 1/2 is 1, so I get 2. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug 2. Right, x equals 2. I'm just going to write that again. And now I'm going to plug 2 in for f of x. So f of 2 equals 1/2 times 2 squared minus 2 times 2 minus 1. And 2 squared is 4. Half of that is 2. Minus 4 minus 1. So that's negative 2 minus 1, and that's negative 3. And that's the value of y. It's really the value that I'm looking for. I'm going to write it in the vertex, though. Vertex would be 2, 3, and again, that's the value of your maximum or minimum value. So in this case, if it's 3, which means it's greater than 0, which means it's going to be a minimum value. So the minimum value is 3, period. Alright, what's my domain? Well, domain's going to be always all real numbers. And your range, well, since it's a minimum value, it's going to be y is greater than or equal to, and it is, oops, should be negative 3. Negative 3. Alright. Go ahead and scoot down to number 6. Give it a try. I'm going to scoot down there in just a second. Pause now, if need be. Alright. So, in number 6, your minimum value is negative 14. Domain, all real numbers. Range, y is greater than or equal to negative 14. I'm going to flip it up to page 8, so pause if you need more time. Alright, the next property that we're going to talk about is called our intercept form. F of x equals a times the quantity of x minus b times the quantity of x minus q. And to find your axis of symmetry, it is x equals p plus q divided by 2. And this is really a nice and easy part. We have our two intercepts. It's at P0 and Q0. Right? And those are the keys right there that we need to know. Alright, so I'm going to walk you through this problem. Here we go. Intercept form right here. It says label the x-intercepts, vertex, and axis of symmetry. A is -2. This would be P and Q, so P equals -3. It's the opposite of what's in there. You see the minus signs up there. So P equals -3 and Q equals 1. Alright. And maybe the next part I actually like is just these intercepts. So I get -3, 0, and 1, 0. So I just go 1, 2, 3 to the left and stop right there, and 1 to the right and stop right there, and there's my 2 intercepts. And really now all I need is one more point. We're not going to graph 5 points, we're going to graph 3 points because the idea is to get your intercepts and the vertex. Alright, axis of symmetry is x equals P plus Q divided by 2. So that's -3 plus 1 divided by 2. That's -2 over 2, and that is -1. So, let me just write that right here. X equals -1, and that would be right here. There is my axis of symmetry. A mirror image. Now to find the vertex, all I gotta do is plug in f of -1. So f of -1 equals -2. Replace x with -1. -1 plus 3. -1 minus 1. I get -2. -3. I'm sorry, 3 minus 1 is 2. And -1 and -1 is -2. So that's 8. Negative times the negative is positive 8. Okay, so my vertex is -1, 8. -1, and then 8 goes up right there. Now I have my 3 points. I'm going to go ahead and graph my parabola. It's going down. And write my vertex here, -1, 8. This is my f of x. I'm going to write my axis of symmetry. And that is everything. Oh, it asks for my intercepts, so I'm even going to write those. Okay, so I got 1, 0, and -3, 0. And voila, we have all those parts. Go ahead and try the next problem. Take your time. Pause now. And when you come back, your answer will be there. Okay. There is number 8. Take a look. Correct your problem up. Pause it. Take a little more time. If you need, I'm going to keep on going because of my time frame. Alright. Here we go. We have a word problem in relation to parabolas. And it says, the parabola shows the path of your first golf shot where x is a horizontal distance in yards and y is the corresponding height in yards. Alright, so right there. And the path of the second shot can be modeled by the function f of x equals the opposite of 2/100 x times the quantity of x minus 80. Which shot travels farther before hitting the ground and which travels higher? Alright, so I'm going to go refer right here real quick. And that vertex right there tells me my height, right? That y value is my height. So my first shot, my height is 25 yards. And if I look at my intercepts, right? that second intercept actually tells me my length, and that's 100 yards. Alright, so I didn't really have to do anything but kind of look at the image for that first one. Second shot comes from my equation. Okay. Alright, so there's our second shot, comes from f of x equals the opposite of 0.02x times x minus 80. Alright, and what's my p? Well, actually p is 0 right there, because it's like x minus 0 is just x. My q is 80. My a, negative 0.02. Okay, so my length of my second shot actually already is given to me. My height, I don't know. My length, 80 yards. Alright, how do I find the height? Well, I have to go back and find the maximum value, right? So x equals p plus q divided by 2. 0 plus 80 divided by 2. 80 divided by 2 is 40. And I take that and I plug it on in. So f of 40 equals negative 0.02 times 40 times 40 minus 80. And 40 minus 8 is negative 40. Negative times negative is going to give me that positive, so that's going to cancel out. And when I multiply those all up, you are going to get 32. So my height is actually 32 yards. Which again, my vertex would be 40, 32. Alright, so which shot travels farther? Well, your farther shot is from shot 1. Which one travels higher? Well, your second shot is 32, your first shot is 25, so your second shot travels higher. So, 100 yards goes farther than 80, 32 goes higher than 25. So, second shot is higher. And first shot goes farther. Alright, and go ahead and move on over to number 10. Read it up, give it a shot, take your time. I'm going to show the answer here in just a minute, so please pause, take your time through it, and here is your answer. Alright guys, I hope that all makes sense. Have a good one. Take it easy.